Hey everyone, this is Lisa from the Rhinestone world, and in this video we're going to be using Silhouette Studio Designer Edition and Up to create a rhinestone scatter around an object. So the reason why we need Designer Edition is that version unlocks the rhinestone feature of Silhouette Studio. Now, if you have any feature higher than that, it also includes rhinestone. So if you are doing Designer Edition Plus or Business Edition, you have these capabilities as well. And if you look at my screen, you'll notice that I am actually working in Business Edition, and I am in the 4.0 version of Silhouette Studio. So let's go ahead and start off. I have a little star here. And the way we work with a scatter is that it's basically a combination of lines and spacing between your stones. So really a scatter, you start off really close and then you get further and further away, or you scatter. So what we're going to do is we're going to start putting lines or offsets around our shape, and we're going to incrementally increase the space between the shape and the line. And then once we add rhinestones, we'll also increase the distance between our rhinestones. So let's go ahead and start with our star and go to our offset panel over here on the right. So offset panel actually has a star. So we're going to go right here, click on here, and now we're going to do offset. So now we're going to set our distance. So the first set I am going to create with my rhinestones as close to my shape as possible. So I'm going to go over here, set this to 0.09. I'm going to hit enter to preview and then hit apply. So now once we create an offset, that offset we just made is what stays selected in our workspace. So we're going to take advantage of that and go ahead and click offset again. So now we're setting our distance from our first line to our second line. So if our scatter gets further and further away, we need to make the distance from our first line to the second one longer or further than what we just set. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my distance as 0.2. Hit enter to preview, and you can see it's further away. Now these distances that I'm doing, I basically came up because one day I sat around and tested out my distances. You may want to alter them based on your shape, but really the principles you need to look out for is just increase your distance. So you might want to test it out with your object, but this is kind of like an overview or some cool guidelines that I found. So now here's my second one. Let's go ahead and hit offset again. So now you can see it defaults to 0.125 inches. We want to increase this, so we're going to put this to 0.225. Then hit enter. So you can see it's further away, and now we can hit apply. So now we're at the point where we're going to start setting our rhinestones. So let's go right here. I'm going to click on my first offset. And one thing you want to look out for is you want to look at this box around here to see which line you have selected. So if you look closely, I actually have my star selected because this box doesn't go on the outside of my first line. So we're going to zoom in, get that first line, and now you can see my box is there. So now let's go ahead and set our rhinestones. So your rhinestone panel is going to be towards the bottom of your right toolbar. Depending on how big your screen is, you may need to click this arrow down here to find it. But you can see this is my rhinestone panel. I'm going to open that up. And now we have our different effects. We want to just convert this line over to rhinestones. So we're going to go here, select edge, and now we have our rhinestones all set, and I'm going to fill that in for you. So there's our first line of rhinestones, really close to our object. We're off to a good start. So our default distance is 0.039. We're going to keep it that way. And let's go ahead and select our second one. Let's go ahead and do edge. Let's fill that in so we can see it a little bit better. And so we have that set. So right now, it doesn't look very good. It basically just looks like two lines of rhinestones that are like awkwardly not spaced well. So we're going to go over here, increase our spacing. So right towards the middle, closer to the bottom of our panel, we have our spacing. This dictates how much space goes between our rhinestones. So let's go ahead, select this. I'm going to type in 0.103. Let's hit enter. So now you can see they kind of go out a little bit further. So now we're ready for our last line. Let's go ahead, click on this. Let's do our edge. Let's fill this in. So now you'll notice because this still says 0.103 from our last change, it automatically puts that in there. So we want to go ahead and increase it a little bit more. So I'm going to do 0.225 and then hit enter. So now you have your rhinestones in there. So you might want to adjust it based off what you're doing. So let's say I want more spacing. I can click this little arrow and kind of move it to the left or right and get it to the point where I like it. So if I want it to be more sparse like this, you can see I nudged it up and now it's at 0.375. So I like this one because it has a little spray on the outside. So this is a basic way to do your rhinestone scatter. I enjoy doing this way because all of these rhinestones are the same size, so it's easy to brush them into the same template. Now there are other scatters where we kind of jumble up sizes, but the issue with that is that you either have to put in your stones in a particular order or you have to do multiple templates. So this is a good way to kind of get that effect with all the same color stones. So once we're ready to cut, we're just going to take our vinyl out of the middle, and this template cuts this way. We don't have to mirror it. So all we need to do is go to our rectangle tool on the side, click our rectangle, and draw one around our shape. And so this is kind of the outline we use to find our shape. This is kind of what we need for our rhinestone template with our magic flock material. So once you're ready to cut this, you can use your magic flock material and rhinestones from therhinestoneworld.com, and you are all set with your scatter around your object. So if you have any questions, you can comment below or email us at info@therhinestoneworld.com.